From Daily Trust News Center, this is News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, Senate raises concern over cash withdrawal limits as POS operators call for policy reversal. ICPC NJC reinstates Justice Ofili Ajumogobia as judge of Federal High Court. ICPC arrests, detains Dibanj over diversion of NPower funds. And on the international scene, Somalia forces and allies retake key town of Al-Shabaab. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Senators on Wednesday expressed reservations over the new central bank Nigeria policy on cash withdrawals. The Senate Minority Leader, Philip Adoda, had during Wednesday's plenary called the attention of his colleagues to the new policy while seconding a motion that the nominations of Aisha Ahmed and Edward Adamu as deputy governors of Central Bank of Nigeria be referred to the committee for screening. Adoda called for caution on the cash withdrawal limit, saying the policy would affect the country's economy. Senate President Ahmed Lawan cautioned the CBN not to approach the policy by jumping into it at once, saying many Nigerians would be affected. He further noted that there is the need to engage the CBN to get more details on the policy. He therefore directed the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions to discuss the matter during the screening of the CBN deputy governors. Lawan said the new CBN policy would be thoroughly debated next Tuesday.
Just to say that they rolled out lots of policies, and they rolled out, they said even to take money from the POS will be 20,000 naira, and that the denomination to be put in the POS was going to be 200 naira. And corporate organizations, 500,000 naira, and then withdrawal of money to the tune of 5 million from about 600 branches with about 35-40 million customers. Will have to go to the banking headquarters for approvals. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, our commerce, I don't think, is ready for this, and our economy might not take this shock.
I want us to be properly informed and properly guided. Most of us, if not all of us here, have not had an engagement with that institution. We are not happy with what it is, but when we debate, we should have solid grounds. And I believe that at the moment, my personal opinion is, if we want to be cashless society, we should take time to be cashless society, not to jump at once into being cashless. Most Nigerians will be out of business. So I believe that, but we need to have an opportunity, take the opportunity of screening. From there, we can go ahead, because by then, somebody would have explained exactly what they mean.
In the same vein, point-of-sale operators are not happy with the Central Bank of Nigeria pegging cash withdrawals to 20,000 naira per day. The directive comes as the CBN prepares to effect a change of naira notes in circulation starting next week, precisely on December 15. Kabiru Lawan speaks to some operators on this development.
Point-of-sale operators also called on government to have a rethink on the policy, adding that youths in the country are predominantly using the POS as a means of livelihood.
So we now that is doing the POS is because we don't have any other thing to do. Now that we have this one to do, they want to snatch it away from us. And this bank that is giving us, maybe if I go to bank today, I will get like 400,000 or 300,000. We'll come back and sit down and manage it. From 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 10,000. The money will be gathering. Maybe the 100 naira, before you know it, we get up to 5,000 a day or 4,000 naira. But now, with this kind of rule now, there is no way we can get even 2,000. or 1.5. So 1.5 will not buy me food, morning food and night food.
The way they want to do their thing, let them do. Let them not change our rules. Those things they are changing will affect us youth, to affect us, and to make us change our mind. Otherwise, to get other things done. So they should just leave the olden days rule. If they want to change the currency, let them change the currency only and leave our rules. We withdraw 20,000. That is not possible now. Like me, like this, a day around 100,000 naira day. So I'll just withdraw 20 and wait for another day. That is not good now, and it will not fasten our work.
Reactions continue to trail the CBN decision to limit cash withdrawals to 20,000 naira per day for individuals. Some Abuja residents called on government to reverse the new rules, which they attribute to the new redesignation of naira notes. They further said new rule will affect the economic activities of the country.
I actually feel it's so crazy because with the limitation of withdrawal, which is just 20,000, I think it's going to affect a lot of businesses, because you can't expect someone like, people that own businesses, like, withdraw money that is not up to 100,000 or much more than that, because some people, the moment they go out with their business, the amount of money they need in their business is much more than that which we are talking about.
To me, I feel that it's very strange. People will find it difficult to cope with that. But I just hope and pray that it will give us the ultimate benefit for what the federal government of CBN wants to achieve to ensure that the economy has a seamless flow of cash instead of stocking it in people's hands. And I believe that cash transfers are also good, much advantage of cash transfer. The disappointment there sometimes is that when you walk to ATM to transfer, sometimes they will tell you no cash. And you may be needing this money urgently to do certain things. So I also hope that they also improve on the other side of it.
The CBN, and in a letter addressed to banks and other financial institutions, announced new limits on cash withdrawals over the counter and via automated teller machines ATM, point of sales POS, and also checks. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Similarly, reactions have continued to trail the central bank new circular pegging maximum cash withdrawal per week for individuals at 100,000 naira and 500,000 naira for corporate organizations. The Apex Bank also limited individual point of sale to 20,000 naira per day. A financial analyst, Mukhtar Mohammed, said some businesses, including POS operators, may find it difficult to survive.
The POS terminals, people are the first to complain about it because they are the ones that really service the rural area, the non-banking that want to include financial inclusion to them. Remember that the POS terminal man is not that he's taking that cash, he has those cash in the bank, he's just linked to his POS so that he can do payments. And there's a minimum to what they can do. So I think the CBN need to look at this, especially when you are talking about financial inclusion. And again, in terms of infrastructure, how many banks have this infrastructure in the rural area? So for me, I think they need to look at that, because otherwise you may just kill a sector that is beginning to provide jobs for Nigeria.
The National Judicial Council has reinstated Justice Rita Ofili Ajumogobia as a judge of the Federal High Court. In a circular, the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice Jones Oho, stated that at the meeting of the National Judicial Council held on the 1st December 2022, the Council reinstated Justice Ofili Ajumogobia as a judicial officer. Justice Ajumogobia was prosecuted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on a 15-count charge of money laundering and breach of public trust. Justice Ambrose Louis Alagwa of the Federal High Court, however, discharged Ofili Ajumogobia while granting her application to quash and dismiss the allegations. On security, the Nigerian Air Force has continued with assaults on identified bandits, camps and enclaves around Kaduna State. A statement signed by Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruwan, said feedback to the Kaduna State government revealed that a camp in Riyawa, Igabi local government area was targeted and destroyed. A terrorist location at Tofa General Area of Birnin Gwari was similarly engaged and struck. The statement said close air support was provided to ground troops conducting operations in Maidaro, Dogondawa, Damari, Saulawa, and Ferunrua areas of Birnin Gwari local government area. Arwan said armed reconnaissance was carried out along the Kaduna-Birnin Gwari Road, Buruku, Kurmim Dande, Damba, Ungwanyako, Udawa, Manini, Kuriga, Gagafada, Kushaka, Polwaya, and Kamfanin Doka areas spanning Chikung and Birnin Gwari local government areas. No suspicious activity was observed at the locations covered. Moving on to politics, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, says he has the capacity to lead the nation and ensure good governance if elected. He said this at the Nelson Mandela Freedom Park in Oshogbo, the Osun State capital, during the PDP presidential campaign in the state. Trust TV's Hamid Oyegbade files the report.
Members of People's Democratic Party and supporters of the presidential candidate of the party, Atiku Abubakar, stormed the Nelson Mandela Freedom Park in Oshogbo for the party's rally. The state governor, Ademola Adeleke, led dignitaries and political office holders in the state to the event. The national chairman of PDP, Iyorchia Ayu, and top echelon of PDP across the country also graced the occasion. While speaking, Atiku assured that he would ensure good governance and deliver dividends of democracy to Nigerians if elected.
Brothers and sisters of Osun, I have come to say a very big thank you. And I urge you, I appeal to you, I plead with you to come out in greater numbers than you did in the last state election and vote PDP in the next general election. That is the only way you can secure your future and the future of your children. We promise you, we will not fail you. We are not like APC because we have done it before.
Chieftains of PDP in the state appealed to people of Osun State to vote for Atiku as they did in the election that brought Adeleke into power.
Imagine now between PDP and APC, particularly in the Northwest. You have seen all the former governors and governors of the Northwest. After Northwest, we are following them. So nobody will want to waste his vote for somebody who is going to deliver us to another period of suffering.
With Senator Ademola Adeleke being the governor, if and by the special grace of God, we do get our man, the man of the moment, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, as the president. You can imagine what the combination will do to the good people of Osun, especially the people of the Southwest and Nigeria.
Party faithful at the event said they were convinced that PDP candidate has the competence to lead the country. Hamid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Oshogbo.
The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, on Wednesday assured Nigerians that there would be no more ASUU strikes in Nigeria if he is elected president in 2023. Obi, who made the promise while addressing supporters of the party at Jolin Nyame Stadium, Jalingo, said the 50 months of ASUU strike in Nigeria since 1999 was a disaster against actualizing a productive nation through intellect. The Labour Party president the Labour Party presidential candidate also promised to make Taraba an economic hub and a tourist center for Nigeria through untapped mineral resources in the state. Stakeholders of the party in the state assured Tarabans that the real time for true democracy to be experienced in Nigeria rests on voting for Peter Obi and all other Labour Party candidates in the 2023 elections.
It is not between tribes. It is not between faiths. It is between the good people of Nigeria and bad governance. Nigeria must unite. The meaning of unity is to bring Peter Obi to Nigeria. Lokaci kaɗan ya rage.
Still in politics, residents of Oshogbo, the Osun State capital, on Wednesday said the traffic diversion in many major parts of the city as a result of the presidential campaign of the People's Democratic Party disrupted their daily activities. As early as 7 a.m., without any prior notice, security operatives blocked major roads connecting the Nelson Mandela Freedom Park venue of the PDP rally, resulting in serious traffic jam in most parts of Oshogbo. Some residents say the traffic jam had a negative impact on their businesses as people could barely move from one place to another.
There are better places that they can use that will contain them, that will even be easier than this. But they did not use the place. And besides, they are the one in power. There is no way where they want to use that they will not permit them. So why they chose to use the places that will inconvenience people, we don't know. And it's very bad.
Actually, it's not really nice because everybody is going to work and this is morning. It's really affecting us. Everybody, I'm late to work. I'm supposed to resume work by 9. See, the time is past 9. So it's very unfair.
Nobody will see this thing that we happy because it's not what we can bear. This thing is too much. The tension is too much. So everything that government do it in a rightful way.
Ahead of the 2023 general elections, the chief whip of the Senate, Senator Orji Uzor Kalu, has warned spokespersons of the presidential candidates of the leading political parties against politics of bitterness. Kalu gave the admonition while fielding questions from journalists in his office on Wednesday. The report.
Senator Orji Uzor Kalu, who doubles as the Senate chief whip, accused spokespersons of the presidential candidates of the leading political parties of not addressing issues as regards aspirations of their principals, but rather dwelling on trivial issues that do not contribute to the much-needed political discourse that will attract voters to them.
The decision to vote lies on the voter. Our own is to do the campaign, do the marketing, but what I'm seeing is not a good marketing. What I'm seeing is backlashing. This spokesman will come and talk rubbish, another spokesman will talk another one will talk another. That is not what people's democracy look like. People's democracy is about what we can do for the people. And I want you people to carry this message very strong because they are the marketing democratic process.
On the performance of the outgoing President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration, Senator Kanu said the administration has scored high in certain areas while it equally failed in other areas, just like any other government across the globe. Leadership, according to him, is like an exchange of patterns in a race where every participant is expected to play their role.
The problem we are carrying were caused by previous governments, and we continue solving it. Like incoming government will also carry some of the problems we are going to leave. We have done very well in terms of indices. I'm just coming from Washington. There is recession all over the world. I have businesses all over the world, and I've seen what Nigeria is still not the best, but still breathing. People are closely breathing all over the world. So for me, I'm not going to say we have done very, very well, but President Buhari and his team have tried their best. Government is a baton. He runs and give back the baton to the other.
He expressed optimism that he remains the best candidate as far as Abia North Senatorial District is concerned, saying 2023 is a done deal for him.
You're watching Trust News Hour. Coming up after the break. Dangers associated with scrap collection in Edo. Do stay with us.
Ba a iya sutura da abinci jin daɗin duniyar mu ya ƙare. Za ka iya more rayuwarka da kayan alfarma na kamfanin Vento Furniture kamar su Ladi Corner Sets, Escape Sofa Sets, Acadia Sofa, Piano Sofa Sets, Sofa Corner Sets, Vento Sofa Sets. Sannan kuma za ku iya saka ƙayatattun gadaje na alfarma a ɗakunan kamar su Gold Cream Bedroom Sets ko kuma ku wadata falon ku da kujeru na alfarma irin su Sare Royal Set da Acadia Dining Sets. Ofishoshinku kuwa za ku iya saka manya-manyan kujeru na kece raini domin walwala da jin daɗin ku da abokan hulɗa. Kamfanin Vento Furniture ya tanadar muku gadajen bacci na yara masu inganci, kayan ɗaki irin na angwaye da amare har ma da sarakuna. Muna da shagunan mu a gurare kamar haka: 79 Allen Avenue, Ikeja, Lagos; 7A Azikiwe Road, Port Harcourt; 25 Glover Road, Ikoyi, Lagos; Shop U1 Jabi Lake Mall, Abuja, da kuma 4330 Walker Road, Windsor, Ontario ga mazauna ƙasar Canada. Vento Furniture mun zagaye ko'ina. That's good.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. Here's a recap of our top stories. You heard that Senate raises concern over cash withdrawal limit as POS operators call for policy reversal. You also heard that NJC reinstates Justice Ofili Ajumogobia as judge of Federal High Court. Moving to more news, the Senate is threatening to give zero allocation to ministries, departments and agencies who have refused to appear before its Committee on Public Accounts to defend their budgets. President of Senate Ahmed Lawan made the declaration on Wednesday during plenary. Lawan further warned that the MDAs have 1 week to appear before the Senator Matthew Urogide-led committee and defend their 2022 budget performance as well as their 2023 estimates or risk zero allocation in 2023. He went on to reel out the names of the erring MDAs, numbering over 100, and warning them to appear accordingly to be sanctioned. Lawan's decision followed a complaint by Senator Urogide that heads of the aforementioned MDAs have refused to appear despite several invitations. Some of the affected agencies include the Office of the Accountants General, Ministries of Finance, Interior and Health, State House, Army, Air Force, Police, NEMA, AMCON and NIWA, among others.
Sometime now, my committee has observed that in the management of public finance, to which of course we have been appointed to perform our role in ensuring transparency and accountability in spending public money. By way of this, anything that is appropriated by the Senate, of course that borders on public funds, utilization of public funds, this committee has been mandated to look into it by inviting MDAs and persons that are charged with the responsibility of approving public funds for expenditure.
Any public officer who accepts to serve and utilizes public fund appropriated by the National Assembly must be prepared to account before the National Assembly. And any officer who feels he or she is above the law should quit. And I'm taking the opportunity here to advise that in the next 1 week, in the next 1 week, if the name of an agency is here, that agency should reach the Committee on Public Accounts of the Senate to sort out when the agency will appear before the committee. If there is no communication whatsoever and no cogent and verifiable reasons are given, we'll slash the budget of the agencies.
Borno State Governor Umar Zulum said night trips across local governments will be reintroduced by next year. He said this during the presentation of 234.8 billion naira budget to the State House of Assembly. Beatrice Kuruti has more.
The 2023 fiscal year proposal tagged Budget of Continuity for Sustainability, which is made up 144.1 billion naira capital expenditure and 90.6 billion naira recurrent expenditure, will be financed from recurrent revenue of 137.8 billion naira plus FAC revenue of 67.9 billion naira and internally generated revenue of 33.1 billion naira, value-added tax of 30.1 billion naira, and other federation sources of 6.5 billion naira. The budget will also be financed by capital receipts of 95.6 billion naira, comprising loans and grants. The governor said new and ongoing projects will be completed by 2023.
We shall remain steadfast. We shall remain firm in ensuring that we maintain the security apparatus in the state. And as I said it earlier, inshallah, early next year, I will reopen resumption of night travels in Borno State. I will begin to travel from Maiduguri to Goda in the night early next year, inshallah.
The Honorable House will approach the processing and the passage of the budget proposal we just made before the agency, if it is there to enable your administration to start implementing
The 2023 budget projections are based on expected rise in crude oil prices and daily production rates and a mineral ratio of 22%, improving revenue generation of up to 25% annually. Borno State has been ravaged by decade-long insurgency, though peace has gradually returned to the area.
Delta State government has dissociated Governor Ifeanyi Okowa from the allegation by President Muhammadu Buhari that state governors were diverting local government funds. Reacting to the President Buhari's statement, the Chief Press Secretary of the governor, Olisa Ifejika, said the state government has nothing to do with local government funds, adding that Governor Okowa has given financial autonomy to the local government councils in the state. The report.
Ifejika added that the governor supports the 25 local government area with a sum of 300 million naira monthly to augment their salaries and pension bills. According to the CPS, President Buhari, by virtue of his position, has all the information about issues in the country, noting the president knows the governors will fall into the category of governors who are complicit.
So it's for a man like that who allows these organs of government to have the autonomy, obviously wouldn't have anything to do with the funds. It is on record, we've said that before, over and over, that the government of Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa every month augments the finances of local government in the state with about 300 million to make sure they're able to pay their salaries and stay afloat. He does that religiously, monthly. For a man who does that, how can he be among those who steal local government's money?
So our governor is not part of it.
The governor's spokesman, who reacted to the statement by the Deputy President of the Senate and All Progressives Congress governorship candidate in the state, Senator Ovie Omoagege, that he consulted Governor Okowa on the status of PTI Eku Agbo Road. It will be recalled that in a meeting with CON members in Sapele some days ago, Senator Ovie Omoagege told them that he had asked Governor Okowa to furnish him with information about the status of the road from PTI through Abo.
In a meeting with CAN people in Sapele 2 days ago, he was telling them that he had asked Okowa when he became Deputy President of the Senate, that he asked the governor to furnish him with information about the status of the road we've always talked about, the road running from PTI through Abraka, Eku, up to Abo. That's a federal road. That he was doing that because the contract for that road had been awarded previously. If the contract was awarded previously by federal government and is now privileged by way of position to do something about it, he didn't have to ask the governor. All he needed to do was to ask for the contractor and using his office to ensure that the contractor went back to site.
Ifeajika said Senator Omoagege knew that the road was under contract and knew the contractor who abandoned the road.
Members of the House of Representatives have again passed a bill establishing the Nigerian Peace Corps after years of controversies over the status of the Corps. The establishment of the Corps, according to the sponsors, is to facilitate peace and ensure the security of local communities and neighborhoods. The bill was read out by Nkiruka Onyejiocha, who stood in for the majority leader of the House, Ado Doguwa, at plenary. Recall that both chambers of the National Assembly had in 2017 passed the Nigerian Peace Corps Establishment Bill 2016, but President Muhammadu Buhari withheld his assent to the bill, citing duplication of functions with already existing security agencies and lack of funds for its establishment. The bill was in July 2019 reintroduced and re-gazetted by the House, this time again sponsored by the Chief Whip, Mohammed Monguno. The Peace Corps has been in existence since 1998 without any legal backing, which led to security agencies clamping down on the activities of the Corps. In another development, in a bid to ensure the well-being of the citizenry, the House of Representatives has directed the Ministry of Petroleum Resources to ascertain the availability of hydrocarbon in commercial quantity in Bida Basin. The House also called for urgent need for implementation of acts enacted by the National Assembly. Moving on to crime, a Federal Capital Territory Police Command has commenced investigations into a reported case of armed robbery, shooting and abduction of some persons in Kubwa area of Abuja. A statement by the Police Public Relations Officer in the FCT, DSP Josephine Ade, on Wednesday said the incident occurred on Tuesday at Relocation Estate off Arab Road in Kubwa. She said the prompt response by operatives of the command led to the rescue of 3 victims and recovery of firearms and ammunition, including 1 AK-47 rifle and 25 rounds of ammunition. Ade said preliminary investigations revealed that the suspects invaded the estate at about 7:30 p.m. and started shooting sporadically, where 2 persons were affected. Ade enjoined residents of the area to remain calm, adding that the command had deployed intelligence and other operational assets to fortify security in Kubwa and its environs. She said investigation is on to identify the suspects and bring them to book. Hisbah Corps would be applying Islamic law to tame gender and domestic violence against women and girls believed to be on the increase across northwest Nigerian states. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibril reports.
For quite some time, gender-based violence has remained a major challenge, threatening especially the safety of women and children, particularly girls. Although several provisions are being made to address the situation, but experts say widespread abuse of women and girls in northern Nigeria is becoming disturbing.
The reason why violence against women and girls is rising is because of the situation the society is in. That is why sometimes it goes up and sometimes it comes down. But we in Hisbah believes that the gender-based violence is reducing at the moment.
People are accepting to talk about it, are accepting to even listen to you. Because before, people don't even want to talk to you about such things. And this is what is making things difficult. Because if a girl is molested, the parent don't want to talk about it. But now, we are getting somewhere because the parents are ready to listen to anybody that wants to help them.
In search for permanent solution, Hisbah commanders from the 6 states of the Nigeria's northwest region are here to deliberate on how to apply Islamic perspective in protecting women and girls against gender-based violence in the region.
In the Quran and in the Hadith of the Prophet, his practice, his tradition, when you come and look at his life according to what Imam al-Bukhari and Muslim reported in so many places, you find that the way the Prophet is treating his family, starting with the wives and then the children. If we can emulate him, we the Muslims today, and do it the way he did, or maybe even closer to that, there shall be no gender-based or domestic-based violence, sincerely speaking.
According to experts, the current insurgency in some states across the region is escalating violence against women, which Hisbah is expected to find a lasting solution to the protection of women and girls.
Because of the result of armed banditry and kidnappings that are happening, particularly in the northwestern part of Nigeria, the gender or the gender-based and domestic violence against women have been on the increase. It is astronomically increasing in the sense that in every 3 women, at least one had been violated.
Meanwhile, the need for government and relevant Muslim organizations to come up with a way to ensure enforcement of relevant Islamic provisions toward addressing the issue of gender-based violence may significantly bring an end to the increased violation of women and girls' rights across the northwestern part of Nigeria. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Sensational entertainer D'banj has been reportedly arrested by the police in Abuja. It was gathered that D'banj was arrested by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission for allegedly diverting hundreds of thousands of naira from the N-Power project. It was learned that the singer, who had failed to honor his summons for months, surrendered himself on Monday. He was then reportedly detained and denied bail. D'banj had reportedly connived with corrupt government officials to introduce ghost beneficiaries into the payroll of the funds, and the monies were later traced to accounts associated with the singer. But reacting, his close associate, Malam Yankee, denied his arrest. Yankee, the singer, was invited but was not arrested. The federal government says its fight against corruption is on track following recovery of over 120 billion naira among other currencies through the proceeds of Crime Act 2022. Minister of Information Lai Mohammed disclosed this in Abuja on Tuesday. Aisha Salihu has more.
As the Buhari administration winds down, series of briefings are being organized to highlight the successes attained during his tenure. One of the major achievements, according to Minister of Information Lai Mohammed, is in the fight against corruption and illicit financing activities. The minister insists that the fight is intact, especially as the president recently signed the Proceeds of Crime Recovery and Management Bill with 2 others into law to improve the country's anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financing framework.
In line with the new law, all relevant agencies of government have now opened a confiscated and for future properties account with the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. I can confirm that so far, the federal government has realized over 120 billion naira, among other currencies, from poker. The money is being used to fund the completion of ongoing critical infrastructure projects in the country.
Minister of Environment Mohammed Abdullahi is also showcasing achievements in the sector, especially in the areas of mitigating desertification, land degradation, and drought management.
We've established a web-based flood early warning systems, which regrettably were ignored by some states. We've also developed safeguards to operationalize action on areas that require movement or evacuation in terms of emergency. We have synergized with the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs in that regard. We've also established community-based waste management recycling facilities in flood-prone areas across the country. We've also tried to strengthen climate change adaptation and resilience in flood-prone areas.
Nigeria has also made great strides at fulfilling its commitment to the 2022 United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, COP27.
We're in the forefront of a list of countries that would likely benefit from the fund for loss and damage. What is pending is actually the mechanism, for setting up of the fund, and then the conditions within which a country can access those funds. So we are waiting for the mechanism to be set up, but while that is being done, we have already set out an action plan. It will be supported by the National Climate Change Council when it finally develops its own national 5-year action plan. So we are doing all the best we can to ensure that Nigeria benefits from the outcomes of the Sharm el-Sheikh in terms of climate finance.
One of the major achievements of the Ministry of Environment is its cooperation with the United Nations Environment Programme in the Ogoni Land Clean, the Nigeria Erosion Watershed Management Project, and its clean and green initiatives in states across Nigeria. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Thank you, Aisha, for that report. Moving on, scrap dealers in Benin City, the Edo State capital, have called on relevant authorities to come to their aid over constant harassment, extortion, as well as life-threatening treatment by unscrupulous elements in parts of the state. The call came following an attack on a scrap metal collector in the early hours of Tuesday, a situation which almost cost him his life. Nafisa Bello completes the report.
As they go for streets, then say, Aboki, come. As I come, then say, you want to buy market? I say, no. I say, yes. I say, I come. As they come, then come round me, then come they beat me, and come carry bottle. I get money, I get 20,000 for here, I get 20,000 for here. Then carry this 20,000, as I hold this one, then say, make I give them, I say, I'm not going to give you this one. As you carry this one, just leave me. Then say, make you, I give them all. If I not give them all, they will kill me. I say, I kill me, now and then go carry a bottle, and then go shoot bottle for my body.
That's Yusuf Dauda, the scrap collector on hospital bed, narrating his ordeal in the hands of the criminal elements, who almost killed him in the curse of forcefully extorting him. Speaking with newsmen, the leadership of the scrap dealers in Edo State called for government intervention, saying the harassment was one too many.
Because sometimes our boys, the countries, would give money, go buy a market inside town. But area boys, they call and say, come buy a market. When you come hard for one side, you collect money for the boys. And sometimes, I even say the market for them, you come back say, come, it is 20 for our play. And sometimes a lot of life, nobody cheaper. So we see that's what happened. What would I beg for? What beg? Make it help us now.
Lending his voice to peaceful coexistence in the state, as well as in the country, the chairman, Hausa community in Edo State, Alhaji Badamasi Sali, promised to liaise with relevant authorities to ensure the culprits are brought to book.
So I think we have to, recommend the effort of the soldiers around that S&T barrack. Immediately they had the information, they swung to action. Before they got to the scene of the crime, those hoolons, they run and left the boy there inside blood. So also Good Samaritan too, I now have to send some of the Hausa people who are doing scrap to the destination and go there and carry the boy to hospital. And right now, I also authorize the Hausa people who are doing the scrap to make sure they go to police and report. Then further action. We will not allow such thing to continue, and we will not take it as far as we are Nigerians, and will not allow.
Officers and men of the Nigerian Army attached to the SNT barracks, Uselu, and operatives of the Edo State Security Network, who rushed the victim to the hospital, are however on the lookout for the suspects who are currently on the run. Nafisa Bello, Trust TV News, Benin.
The traditional role of media is to hold government to account, giving it the name the fourth estate of the realm. However, fourth power refers to the press and news media, both in explicit capacity of advocacy and implicit ability to frame political issues as being saddled in the Constitution. As 2023 elections draw closer, Noel Samson looks at how journalists should be mediators and not instigators. The report.
The media, they say, knows and appreciates what is at stake as the 2023 elections draws closer. Hence, reasons why media practitioners know why they have to be mediators, not instigators to any form of violence whatsoever.
The media can't be neutral because we fight for social equality, we fight for the rule of law, we fight for good governance, we preach transparency, we preach accountability. All of this shows that you're interested, but your interest is for the greater good of the people, not for a section, not for a political party, not for a candidate. You place everybody on the same platter and offer them to the people.
The media clearly, especially the Nigerian media, has been pretty exemplary over the years. Right from the Renaissance democracy, they've been very responsible. You would see that most times the media tends to actually downplay a lot of reports that are capable of inciting or leading to, tension and outrage by the people.
Ways in which media houses could self-regulate themselves to ensure explosive news items are diffused was also highlighted.
It is good enough that Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, Nigeria Union of Journalists, Nigeria Guild of Editors, Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, Guild of Online Publishers have all come together, on the issue of co-regulation and to ensure that media organizations have their own ombudsman, apart from the one that these bodies would have as a general one, to ensure that they properly regulate content, they properly regulate themselves and live up to the social responsibility theory which has been placed on them.
Especially every work of man, there is imperfection. So it is sitting back, doing content analysis, looking at how, even as individual reporters, if you cover, for instance, you are a court reporter, it's incumbent on you after the day's report, by the next day, you are doing comparative analysis of how you took that report and how your colleagues took the report. And the same way all responsible organizations are expected to look at how did this day treat it, how did Daily Trust treat it, is there a place to improve?
The mass media serves information, interpretation, instructive bonding, and diversion functions. The advent of media is changing all this, but conventional media will hold on to its traditional roles. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. More stories after the break.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Created a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back. Let's now join Chiamaka Nwafo for business news.
The Debt Management Office, DMO, has announced its December issuance of 2 federal government of Nigeria FGN savings bonds at 1,000 naira per unit. According to a statement by the DMO, the first offer is a 2-year FGN savings bond due in December 14, 2024 at an interest rate of 12.255% per annum. The second one is a 3-year FGN savings bond due in December 14, 2025 at 13.255% interest rate per annum. It said the opening date for the bond's issuance is December 5th, while the closing date is December 9th. Settlement date December 14th, while coupon payment dates are March 14th, June 14th, September 14th, and December 14th. It also added that the FGN savings bonds qualify as securities in which trustees can invest under the Trustee Investment Act. The World Bank says the external debt stock of low-income and middle-income countries doubled over the past decade to $9 trillion at the end of 2021. Last year, the debt rose by 12% to a record of $860 billion in 2020 from $770 billion in 2019. World Bank President David Malpass disclosed this during the launch of the International Debt Report 2022. According to Malpass, the bank's latest debt statistics reports showed that the debt crisis in the world's poorest countries is intensifying, thereby making debt restructuring harder. The World Bank president, however, said to address the debt crisis, nations should focus on improvements in 3 areas of debt sustainability, transparency, and restructuring. Finally, in stocks, the Nigerian equity market on Wednesday rose further as the all-share index appreciated by 0.12% to settle at 48,426.49 points. Investors' wealth climbed further by 33 billion naira as the market capitalization was up by 0.13% to close at 26.377 trillion naira. The market break closed negative as 12 equities appreciated in their share prices against 17 equities that declined in their share prices. An aggregate of 146 million units of shares was traded in 2,810 deals valued at 3.36 billion naira. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Nwafo. Thanks for watching.
On the international scene, government forces and allied militias in Somalia have recaptured a strategic town that Al-Shabaab armed group had controlled for 6 years. President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud said in a televised address that pro-government forces entered the town of Adan-Yabal in Hirshabelle, about 220 kilometers northeast of the capital Mogadishu, after the Al-Qaeda-affiliated fighters withdrew without resisting. African Union force ATMIS said Al-Shabaab had used Adan-Yabal as a training base and the force welcomed its return to Somalia government's control. The fighters, who have been waging a bloody war against Somalia's internationally recognized federal government for 15 years, also used the town as a logistics hub. Let's now join Adeni Ajishafe for sports news.
Minister of Youth and Sport Development Sunday Dare has urged the Interim Management Committee of the Nigerian Professional Football League (NPFL) to help revive the domestic game and bring it to its past glory. The NPFL is not on television compared to other African countries and also has no official title sponsor. The IMC was inaugurated in September, replacing the old league management company LMC to ensure the smooth running of the NPFL. Dare expressed concern over the deteriorating state of the NPFL, which he said was once the pride of the nation. Rivers United are the current champions of the NPFL. And still on football, following the resignation of Otto Addo as the head coach of the Black Stars of Ghana, His technical backup, Chris Hughton, is said to be named as the new coach of the team. Hughton was named in a technical support role to Ado last year during preparations for the World Cup playoffs. The former Premier League retained his position after Ghana secured their place in Qatar, with Ado still in charge as the head coach. The performance of the Black Stars at the World Cup in Qatar was not encouraging as they crashed out at the group stage of the competition after losing 2-0 to Uruguay in the final group match. Ado left his position after the game, saying that he feels more like a German than Ghanaian. According to the update from Ghana, the Football Association has concluded an arrangement to name Hughton as the new coach on a long-term contract. That's Sport News. I am Adeniyi Ajishafe.
And with that, we've come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. Don't forget to connect with us on all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.